What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another incredible episode of Coffee and Grit. And I'm excited because Grit, we got the coffee back in the grit to this morning.
Yeah, we do.
We're filming here in the morning. You know, typically I'm there at 2 in the afternoon and I'm all coffeeed out. So I was really excited this morning to pour my coffee and come in the studio. And I'm really, really excited for our guest. And we almost started diving in deep, and Grant had to like X me out and stop me from asking questions. I met Dr. Ronda at the Entrepreneur Unplugged, in just another plug for that incredible event. If you go follow the Integrated Life pages, that event was so incredible. That's just incredible people. I felt like people were ready to be vulnerable and make change, and it was just a really cool event. And I got to meet Dr. Ronda because she was another speaker, and I unfortunately didn't hear her speak, but then she was listening to mine, and it sounded like we had a lot in common, and then we talked all day long. So it was super awesome. So Ronda, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I was excited to be here because as I heard you speaking, you were speaking all my love language words. And then I've been listening to your podcast and all your people. I'm like, how do I get in his bubble? All the
That's
community and like collaboration and all your podcasts, it's all the same like words that really resonate with me.
What I love about that, and it gives me goosebumps, is like people, like, 'cause I've been following you since, first off, you can feel your energy in what you bring in like your heart. And so like the first moment I saw you, I'm like, I'm going to want her on my podcast. and then instantly it was like, yep, definitely. And hope, I was glad when you accepted, but like watching you, it's like looking up to you and seeing what you're doing. And so it gives me chills when you can see a connection like that, where it's like, you want to be in each other's orbit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, I was listening to everything and I'm like, gosh, this guy is like so everything that I am in my community.
Yeah.
I think you're here.
Yeah.
And you're surrounding yourself with the right people and doing the right things.
Well, and I love your tagline on Instagram is community cultivator. I'm like, that is genius. I love that. How did you come up with that?
Oh, I cheated. A girlfriend of mine did. She's really good at that stuff. And really that's what I love doing, is bringing community and bringing people together. And I said, I need a name. And she's like, you're the community cultivator.
Just rolled off her tongue.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just kind of who I am and what I've been doing and what I love to do.
So how did that start? Has that always been you?
Yes and no. So for the last few years, I'm a mom, and by profession, I'm a chiropractor. So I had my practice, I was raising my babies, and I've recently gotten divorced. And a few years ago, I knew I needed to make a couple changes. And bringing people together is kind of, I found out my superpower and I didn't know it. So in my practice, you become a solopreneur. And if somebody had told me I was going to be a business owner by myself, I like people. I'm a we person.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I like, to be around people. And I didn't realize how lonely being a solopreneur could be.
Yep.
So how, as a chiropractor and having a practice, can I create a community and work with other people in building my business and helping build their business?
We have so much in common. I'm so excited for this conversation.
Tell me.
Well, it's the same thing, like I was used to being surrounded around people, and you think, and even with clients, it's just different, and so I was seeking out that community. That's how this even really, I didn't intend to be a podcaster. I didn't intend to coach solopreneurs. It just happened because I was reaching out and building community.
On accident, right?
On accident.
And then it just, you surround yourself with the right people. Like I said, like listening to you, you're just around all the right people, and it just happens organically.
Yeah.
And it's way more fun when it's organic and not forced.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I started doing, with my business, I started seeking out other business owners and doing events, and my events started really small, and I started by myself with 30 people. And, now my monthly events have 150 women.
Wow.
At them. And now I started a second group, and then I'm coaching another person who's doing, it's just, if you would have told me 2 years ago, this is what I'd be doing, I would have laughed.
So how did you, okay, and I love how you give credit. So like, how did you come up with this?
So like I said, a couple years ago, I knew I was going to be getting a divorce, and I started coaching with my coach and doing everything she told me to do. The very first thing I did was during COVID. We did benevolence. So I was fortunate enough, I got to keep working. So they didn't shut us down. I got to see patients. It was on a way smaller scale, but I still had an income. I still was working. So I would every week go out and do $100 tab. And I would give another local business owner $100. I'd put it on I started with Beyond Juice. I don't know. Do you guys have a
We do not have a Beyond Juice.
You should.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I went in there. I said, it's Dr. Ronda. I put $100 here. If you come in and say, put it on Dr. Ronda's tab, you'll get $5 off your bill. But it was promoting that business.
Yep.
And everybody was kind of struggling and scared and didn't know what was going to happen. And I grew up in the hometown that I'm at. So I love my community. And I figure if we're all working together, we can't fail. So I started doing that every Friday. And then it led to meeting all kinds of other solopreneurs and creating relationships and talking to them. And you could see who was receptive to it and not. And then I built from that what I call my girl gang. I have a women's social group called Social Oak. Uh-huh. And we all collaborated. We all have like the same ideas, same business owner mindset, and want to grow.
And you have the same type of customer,
same
right?
idea
This
client.
is important too.
Yeah.
And this is one of the areas we really connected, was knowing that you have to have your defined client who you like to work with.
Yes. So the places that I was going would serve my patients. So I knew I could hear them talking about taking their kids to Beyond Juice after getting adjusted.
Yep.
So if my favorite patients are going there, then their favorite clients should probably come see me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we just really clicked. And they have the same mindset and the same ideals around life, I guess. So as business owners, we really connected. And like I said, mine started as all women. I joke my ideal client is a woman because, let's be honest, you guys only come to doctors if your wife made you or it affects your golf game.
It affects your golf game. That hurts.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong. And your wife probably found me because your golf game is affected and she wants you out there with her.
Probably.
So yeah, I started doing these events and I love people. So why wouldn't I have events every month and have a room full of people that I like? I mean, I didn't need the instant gratification out of it. I just wanted to be around people anyway. And people need other people.
Yeah.
If anything, I think COVID taught me that. People need people and want to be invited.
And they want to be invited. Isn't this, it's like, we make it so hard. We make relationships and building relationships so hard a lot of times, and thinking that, they're not going to like me or whatever. But people want that connection. They want that.
Yeah. In person, right? You want to be like that event. Brandon nailed it, and put it in a cool setting and made it easy and comfortable.
Yeah.
You weren't nervous going in. You were comfortable. You got to wear your t-shirt and shorts and speak in front of other business owners who just want the same thing as you.
That's absolutely it. It's in you can tell that they want the same thing as you when there's everybody is so willing to have that open connection. Again, I've said this a couple of times when talking about the event, is people cried.
Yeah.
People would sit and tell their stories and be comfortable being in those emotions. And those are the places I want to be.
I think it was the right people and setting too. Don't you think?
Yes.
Just that setting, being outside on a farm.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah.
Right. For a business thing, normally you have to dress up and wear uncomfortable shoes if you're a woman. But we weren't. We were super comfortable, easy and comfortable.
When he told me about the concept of the event, I'm like, that sounds awesome. And then I was like, what's the dress code like on a farm? Because I'm like, I don't not want to wear a suit outside all day. And he's like, really comfortable, in.
Yeah.
In.
Well, it's Brandon. So
yeah,
he's pretty easy
he's
that.
Pretty easy.
Yeah. He's not going to put a tie on purpose.
But it's so important to be who you are.
Yeah.
Because.
Well, it's easier to make those connections.
Yes.
I don't have to look past your tie or look past you being uncomfortable because you can be who you are.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the biggest things with that event. And I had a lot of my people that were there, a lot of the people from my community. So it's fun because you came, that was outside of your bubble, right?
Yeah. I knew two people there. One of them, Robert Pierce, from This Guy Cleans House. And then another one I had met the night before.
Who was that?
Nikki Nanos. Nikki, she's a coach, a mindfulness coach.
Okay.
And she was the one, she'd worked in Hollywood with Clint Eastwood, not Clint Eastwood. the beard, Chuck Norris.
Okay. I didn't
And
get to connect with her very much. So I know who you're talking about, but I don't know her.
so I went in the night before to my collaborative workspace down the street, and I was printing off the workbook that for the workshop. I walked in. I'd never met her before. She was at the kitchen table, and she came out and started talking to me. And she was like, "Yeah, I just moved to the area. I moved here from Texas, starting my business. I'm moving to Waterford, looking to meet people." And I was like, I'm literally speaking at an event tomorrow for entrepreneurs. It's unplugged. I think there's going to be a lot of really awesome people there. It's going to be in your area you're moving to. I think that's a sign." And she was like, "Done." And she signed up.
Very cool. I did not know that. So, and there were a couple of people that were, again, that I didn't know and I got to meet. So I thought that was cool too. And I didn't know how anybody got there.
Yeah.
So
it is so cool when you sit and how did people get here?
Right. Yeah. And figure out the connections.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good event. And I think I learned a lot from it. I loved your talk. Like I said, every time you would say something, everybody would kind of giggle because we kind of said a lot of the same stuff.
But people need that repetition and they need to hear it a couple of different ways, right?
100%. Like what you say, even I can learn from the same concept that I'm already living, but I'm like, ooh, looking at it from a different perspective.
Yep. I've spoken with speakers before that have been, "Oh, I hope that we don't cross." And like, they'll call me up before, hoping that we don't cross and stuff like that and what we're talking about. And I'm like, I think if there's a chance that we're hitting on some of the same things, that repetition is even better. If I stand up and say something completely opposite from what you're going to say, it's going to sound like it's going to be competitive.
I was going to say, I think it sounds actually like reassuring
right?
to the listeners.
Yeah.
Right? When you say something, I mean, I think we even used the same analogy at one point.
With the cars, the Volkswagen Bug, right? Yeah.
So I think I think that is going to hit harder for the listeners.
Yep.
Right?
Me too.
Because you're saying, and we don't know each other, and we're saying the same exact thing. It kind of has to be true.
Right? They got here somehow and they're saying the same thing. I thought that was so cool because I went after you. The audience was already warm to it. It was just fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the things with the community and building it. And I love this area. Maybe not your roads right now.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't think I've ever been here.
Really?
Yeah. And why not? Because it's so cute.
Okay, you got to come back in September. We're going to do lunch.
Okay.
Just because the roads are going to be done then.
Okay.
And one of my favorite things to do is bring people downtown Brighton. I love it. It's a small town. We found it on accident, So
you didn't grow up here? That's what I was going to ask you.
I grew up in Owasso.
Okay.
Between Flint and Lansing.
Okay.
Yeah. I was living out in Lansing when I met my wife, and we had a baby. Long story. We had our son, and we ended up. She was working out here, and then I took a job as a sales director that was based in Ann Arbor, and so I was driving from Lansing to Ann Arbor every day. She was driving from Lansing to Brighton every day, and so we just moved here.
Yeah, it's great.
It was great. My mom was watching our son. She lives like 30 minutes away. It was a great central location.
Yeah, it's a great community, and it sounds like you guys are building like little communities of. It sounds like you're part of that, building like all these business owners and solopreneurs, and
it's all I wanted, really. So like starting my business, like that's I was so excited to have this conversation because it's like finding and discovering really what you're meant to be doing, right? As far as cultivating that community. And so I was a sales director for a company, and I had the communities everywhere. That was the thing. That was how we became successful in our company. Was I taught us how to be ingrained in our communities. We were in Frankenmuth and Ortonville and Ann Arbor, Saline, Jackson. All these different locations, and we were in the chamber. We were active and visible in our communities. But I'm like, I just want to be in my downtown. I don't want to be home. I don't want to drive anymore. I want to be able to walk to my office. I want to be able to just walk to coffee to meet with people. I want to be close. And, not that I don't want to be everywhere else, but I want to make a really big impact in my community as opposed to all the other communities. Not that I didn't love that, but I want to be here,
right.
So
do you work mostly with business owners here in your community?
Well, so yes and no. So no. In fact, I have a client in Champaign, Illinois, in Denver, Colorado, and so I'm kind of all over. But a lot of the community work I do is here. Right. More speaking events and stuff like that is here. More solopreneur coaching is here.
Okay. Yeah.
But just the getting and doing the community work is here.
Okay. So yeah, that's, I think, I mean, I grew up in Clarkston,
Yeah.
like I said. So for me, you know, and especially with everybody talking about the economy, my business coach said something to me once saying, you know, the world's economy is not my economy. And I said to her, I go, well, I'm going to take it to another level. Like the world's economy is not going to be my community's economy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that when you all work together, and like, that's why I'm, like you said, you're coaching outside of your community, and I'm not struggling with that. So I'd love to talk to you more about that.
Yeah.
But because I'm really good at building local, you know, in my bubble
Yep.
communities.
Yep.
I always joke, in my previous life, I actually ran a dog rescue. And I didn't realize we became the 4th biggest boxer rescue in the nation.
Wow.
And looking back, it's because I built a community of the fosters and volunteers. So I've been doing this without knowing it.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to figure out how to do it on a bigger scale. And I'm helping other people build communities in their community.
Before we get back at it, a quick shout out for our sponsor, Playbook Builder, powered by AI. This show has always been about giving the resources and the tools to small business owners in order to grow and scale your businesses successfully. And so I'm so excited to partner with a company that does just that. If you've listened and heard any of our guests, you've heard talking about building process, developing and training, building culture, are all such important pieces in order to building a great company. Well, Playbook Builder, powered by AI, has come along and revolutionized the game on how you can do that for your team and people. Whether you're onboarding new people, training and developing, continued training and developing, you're looking to scale your business or eventually sell, or most importantly, you're looking to build a legacy as a visionary. Playbook Builder, powered by AI, is able to solve those problems for you. For me as a consultant, I've been able to plug in, and it's so amazing for what I do for clients. I can now leave a legacy. And so, for example, I'm next week training a new hire for a company, and I've been able to build out the next month of her training program using Playbook Builder, powered by AI. The cool thing about the AI, what does that do? What's the hardest part of building out a process? Taking the step by step and making it easy to learn. What the AI piece does is you can actually type in what process it is, whether you want to onboard, if you want to onboard a new employee, type in onboard a new employee and what type of industry you're in, and the AI will put together a foundation for you to build out your playbook. It is absolutely incredible. But don't take my word for it. Head on over to playbookbuilder.com, and these guys have set it up to where you can take this for a test run with no obligations. Plug in what kind of playbook you want to build. If it's a sales training playbook, for example, plug that in the description. And in the description, you can also put in what kind of industry you're in, and then hit generate, and it will generate a playbook for you. Impress from there, and you can take a 30-day free trial of the playbook system altogether. Building your gang is genius. And when you're like, this is what I do, is like,
My girl gang.
yeah.
Yeah. So now I have 2. So we've grown. So the goal of that is I grew my gang. So it's called the Girl Gang of 5. And like I said, it's 4 other women business owners. And we actually have 6 of us. Same ideal client. Originally, we all went healthcare. And one of the girls we added is actually an insurance agent.
Okay.
And she didn't fit we have a personal trainer, online holistic nutritionist, Beyond Juice, a float thing, the girl who does my eyebrows. And then we have an insurance agent, but her
She
job.
doesn't fit in that healthcare,
But
wellness.
she fits.
Yeah.
She's all about community. She's all about, especially women business owners. She's perfect for us. And then now recently, the last girl, Michelle, who was in my girl gang, she's like, we're going to do this in Lake Orion and Oxford too. I was like, we are? Because it's a lot of work. and I said, I unplugged myself.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. I said, okay, how about you do it? And I just get veto power. Because if we're using Social Oak name and I started that's like my baby.
Yeah.
So, and then I coached another girl in Lapeer who's doing it. And now, like I said, I had coffee with somebody here who wants to do it, a Social Oak Brighton.
We need that.
I mean, well, she wants to meet you. I said, you got to meet him because he's all about community and he's all about like collaboration. And
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the word networking. Networking reminds me of my dad at BNI's. What can you do for me?
Yeah.
I don't like that. Like I want to do,
favorite
what can we do
networking.
for each other? How can I help you? Who can I introduce you to?
Collaborate. I love that. Yeah.
Yes. And it's not always about direct referrals.
Right.
Like I may have somebody that you need to talk to, but they're not going to be a client, but they have so many opportunities that you can work together.
It's absolutely it. It's so cool how the world opens. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and he was mentioned this is out of the blue somebody, and then we connected, and it was like it was just a really good relationship and synergy. You have no idea where you're going to meet people.
Right. So in the Social Oak, I've now started, actually, ironically, I did start a networking group. I don't like to say that. So I started a new group called Coffee Connections and Collaborations. And I started it back in February. And that's what it is. It's teaching people how to collaborate because not everybody knows how to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They think of old school networking. And they don't build, I don't feel like I built relationships in those groups. So
Never. Yeah.
I want to build relationships. So now I've coached 14 other business owners and there's 14 locations opening across the United States.
What do you think that key is to teaching them how to do it the right way? What is that right way? Or that, what's that magic thing?
You let me know. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I think it has to be part of who you are.
Yeah.
There's a part of it I don't think you can teach. Right? Like sometimes you're who you are and that's okay.
Yep.
There's a place for everybody. But I think being open, you need like an open mindset, an abundant mindset. Because I think a lot of the networking groups have a very small-minded, limiting belief.
Yep.
So I think sometimes it has to be who you are or just willing to hear it out. What do you think it is?
I think a big cap that people go into in these networking groups is they're looking for money. They're looking for that sale. And if you're looking for something, if you're looking to date, if you're looking for a relationship, if you're looking, like you're single and you're looking for a relationship, right?
Right.
You're going to strike out over and over and over again because you want that thing. If you're going out and just connecting and meeting people because you genuinely like to connect with people and you're just doing that thing, you're going to meet more people. If you're going out and you like to connect and learn about other people so you can collaborate, that natural
So how do you teach that?
How do you teach
You
it?
tell me.
Yeah.
I'm figuring it out, right?
Yeah. It's intensive because it's teaching people. It's a mindset. It's all mindset.
That's what I said, open mindset.
It's all mindset, and you have to take people against everything they're used to doing.
Unteach them.
Unteach them. I have a client right now, and she's just yesterday she was like, it's so hard because I think when I'm calling somebody, like I'm there trying to sell them, and I'm trying to think of the example because it was actually really good. Oh, she has a client that she's working with for free, and she's been a friend and has been working with her for free forever. And she was like, really? Like she needs to pay because she's got serious problems and she's not taking it seriously.
Oh yeah, you don't value things sometimes.
You don't value things. And so she had these test results and I'm like, this is the time to have that conversation. What you just told me is what you need to tell her. You care about her so much. You've got to have the real conversation and say, listen, whether you choose me or not, from these results, it's obvious it's time to get serious. Yeah. And just flat out, I notice when people don't pay,
they don't value.
They don't value you.
Or I think too, they don't always, I did that when I first started practice for my friends.
Yeah.
I didn't let them pay. And not only there's some people that don't value the care, but they didn't want to take advantage and they wouldn't take the care. So there's the flip side too.
Flip side. Yep.
Right. So I think there's both sides. There's people that don't value it. If you're not putting money or something into it, you can't get anything out of it.
But then here's the other thing is you as the person that's giving away the free service also grows resentful because you're human. Resentful or you don't give the full service. You don't do the full thing.
Right. You're the efforts.
The effort's there. The effort's lacking. And so that's just an honest conversation with somebody that if you don't want to pay for it, this may not be the right fit anymore.
Right.
Moving away from whether you're working with them or not, if they don't want to, because I'm not giving you the full effort, you're not giving me the full effort, and you're just going to continue
Right. That's
where you're at.
that circle. Yeah.
And so that's a very human conversation.
And they're not getting, like you said, they're not getting what they want out of it.
They're not getting what they
And
want
you're
out
not
of
giving what you want out of it.
it. So you think you're being a nice person. You're doing this
Yeah.
thing for free. You're almost a martyr than your mind, you know, like,
Yeah.
but you're really keeping them where they're at.
Right.
And that's that's not sales. That's like a truthful, honest conversation. And that can hurt to come up with.
Well, and I have
But-
this conversation with like people with my coaching people and like ideal clients. And they're like, I can help everybody. I'm like, yeah, but you have that person on your schedule that you're like, eek, I don't want to see them. And you're never going to give
Yes.
all of you to them.
Yes.
And they're going to feel that whether you want them to or not.
Yep.
Like, don't get me wrong. As a chiropractor, I can't like come in with my B game. Like when I'm adjusting your spine, I'm always going to give you my A game.
Yeah.
But my personality isn't going to come through. And you're going to feel that without me wanting you to.
I have a rule that if I have a client that if I wake up and I'm like, ugh, I got to meet that person today, it's not the person, right? I've got to meet with people that I know we're making impact, we're moving. Like if not, I'm dying inside to even go meet with you.
And you're not going to give them your full.
And I'm not going to give them my full.
You're going to try. You're going to try.
Yeah.
But it's just not all there.
Yeah. You can try and you can give yourself pep talks and you can do all the stuff. It's just not there.
Yeah. And I don't think that clients or like my coaching clients don't feel that. They want to help everybody, but you can't.
You can't.
Like you're meant to serve certain people. And I get it. If you're starting a new business, sometimes you got to suck it up. But when you're at a point that you can serve the people you're meant to serve, you're going to do better and they're going to refer their people.
Yes.
Because you don't want the person that you're like, can you imagine if the person that you're like, ooh, I don't want to go see them, starts referring their friends, you're going to get more of them.
Yes. Yes. That's
Ew.
exactly it. If you're like, people do this all the time. Like, oh, I'm going to give them a deal because they'll give me referrals. Yeah, they're going to give you referrals at the same deal that you gave them. You know?
And the same type of person.
And the same type of person.
You're
Because the
setting
people that want the
yourself up.
deals are always the ones that also want the highest service. They have the most questions. They have the most
Yes.
like specialty things that they need taken care of. They have the most
Yes.
requests. It's crazy. It's just a
Yeah.
correlation.
And I get it. Like I'm fortunate to be at a spot that I don't have to do that anymore.
Yes.
Because that does take time.
It takes time. The big thing is you have to kind of kiss the frogs, I guess, sometimes to understand what you do. What is your person?
I agreed. So in the beginning, you have to figure out who you want to work with.
Yeah.
Right? You can go in thinking one thing and knowing that you start seeing all of them and you're like, not my person. You know, I practice with my mom. We're separate practices in the chiropractic space. And she was not feeling good one day and I had to see all of her people. Those aren't my people. I was toast by the end of the day.
That's rough. Yeah.
But I had to help, you
Yep,
know, those, and I love the people, but they're just not who I'm
Who
supposed
you're
to be.
vibing with all day.
Yes.
Yeah. Because your people probably refill your energy.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about they're not bad people, but these people refill your energy.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. I think even in coaching clients, that's the same thing. I have to, you know, like there are certain people that I shouldn't work with. I'm not for everybody and I'm okay with that.
Yep. Yes. And that's that you have to be in order to grow a successful, thriving business, you have to be 100% okay and realize you're not for everybody
Yeah.
and be able to point that out and be okay that you don't have those customers. When I was speaking, I said something about I had a chiropractic client that said they could serve everybody with the spine. And I was talking about that specifically. It's so funny. I forgot you're a chiropractor because we hadn't met yet. And you're like, not me. And then everybody was kind of laughing. And you're like, I have my customer's name.
Yeah.
And I was like, you do? Tell me more.
Yeah. My ideal client, she has a name. I mean, yeah, I can serve everybody with a spine. I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, and then how do you go and specifically find them? Because you said it takes a lot of work to find people, but if you know who you're looking for, does it really?
Well, we talked about that. The kind of the car analogy, right?
Yep.
You said it in your talk. I said it in my talk. I feel like, again, your mindset and you're going to find what you're looking for, right? If I'm putting it out there and I know who I want to see, it's going to organically happen. And my staff is going to not put them on my schedule if they're not who I want. But
You can train them.
I have.
Yeah.
Because again, and they know I'm a better boss,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I'm happier. They're happier. So, but I think that you can find it because you put that out there and you put that energy out there,
Yeah.
right? Like you're going to find your ideal clients and you're who you want to coach because that's what you're putting out there. And they're going to find you because of that.
This show, like, I just find the people. You
Yeah,
know?
I need to know how you do that too. Well, again, like organically, you're like, you want to be on my podcast? I'm like, ooh, a microphone, cameras. You would have told me a year ago that I'd be here. Mm-mm.
It's so funny because like I didn't go out that day thinking, oh, I'll meet a bunch of podcast guests for podcasts. But when I got there, I was like, oh, there's some people here that I want to meet.
So I saw you. It's not on your podcast yet, but I saw you had Corey.
Yeah, in fact, it dropped yesterday.
Oh, on your podcast?
Yeah.
I didn't see the podcast when I was looking at it today.
Yep, it came out yesterday morning.
Okay, I saw little clips online. I was like, oh, because I love Corey. She's done a lot of she's actually done a couple of our social oak events with the bath salts. So yeah, there were great people there. And
It's so cool because like I had not talked much to Corey. It was the beginning of the morning, and I was talking to Corey Luter, who still has not been on the show, but I was like, I would love to have you on the show.
He's awesome.
He's awesome. Like I was like like you two, I was like, oh my God. And then Corey was like, yeah, just, contact me. And then Corey Thompson was like, can I be on? And I was like, sure. I was like,
cool.
what? And it was a phenomenal episode.
Okay, I did not see it on there, so I'll have to look. I just saw clips on your Instagram.
Yeah, I put the clip out last night, so the full audio, everything's up.
Okay, I'll listen to it on my way home. Yeah, she's awesome. I mean, I work with her a lot in the community. Corey, I just kind of met too. What's funny is, well, putting yourself out there, and because you're good at this, like you put yourself out on Instagram, and then you walk into a coffee shop, and like Corey looked at me. I was at Starbucks, and he's like, I know you. I was like, you do.
It's so cool though.
I was like, but I know you.
That's what's so cool is because you put yourself out there. And that's kind of what we were talking about is when you know your people and you know who you're trying to reach, you find them, you put yourself out there, and then they kind of attract to you,
right?
Because you're speaking their language. Yeah,
that was weird. Like Corey, when I saw him, I was like, I mean, I do have a secret account on Instagram. That's kind of how he knows me. He doesn't know that, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I found him through Instagram and met him in a coffee shop and talked to him for an hour. And then he was a speaker at that event. And that's the only 2 times I've seen him in person, but we talk on social media quite often.
That's so interesting.
And he's cool. He's got cool stuff.
He's like, I only met him that one day, and I'm like, he seems really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then I've obviously followed he's posts a lot of stuff, so he has some really cool stuff out there.
Yeah. So you like you said, you just put yourself out there, and you're gonna find the right people. And it's not comfortable. You're probably more comfortable at it. You've been doing it for some time, putting yourself out there on social media.
Well, so that's a funny story too. Like I do this because I hate sitting in front of a camera. Like Corey, like he does great. Like he doesn't do any of this stuff. Like he does it all. Like pop in front of the camera, just doing a thing. I can do that, but I really don't like doing it. Like
you're like that. Like,
I'm a we.
I'm a we person. Not that like there's a time and a place. I said that to somebody and I really offended somebody once. I think there's we people and me people. And I think there's a place in the world for both. I don't mean it offensively. I'm the girl who's going to be like wearing black and kind of in the back corner with my people or meeting people. And then there's the people, one of my good girlfriends, she's in like neon colors and on center stage. And she's an amazing person and a great business owner. But that's not me.
Yeah.
And she's very like good at being center of attention. I'm not.
You're not.
Always. Like, again, speaking, when Brandon's like, do you want to speak? I'm like, on purpose.
On purpose.
People want to hear what I have to say. Like, why do people want to hear what I have to say?
That's what I love is when people are like, why, this podcast, people are like, who really wants to hear?
So many of your guests have said that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I felt actually more comfortable hearing most of your, like, as I was listening to yours.
Yeah.
So many of your people have said that because they're just real people.
Yes.
Doing real things.
Yeah.
And we don't feel like we're doing anything necessarily amazing, but we're all making an impact in somebody's life or you wouldn't ask them to be here.
That's exactly it. And then, we get caught up in the things that we're not, or we get caught up in the things that, we're living our lives. So sometimes we don't dig ourselves out and see that we're doing something pretty freaking special here. Other people see it. Yeah.
And we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, like your podcast, like how often do you do it? You drop one every week?
Every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a lot of work. And a lot of people
It's
don't want to
not
do
as
the
much
work.
anymore. It used to be a ton.
Really?
Grant makes my life so much easier.
Yeah, I guess so. I always laugh. I keep saying they're like, you need to start a podcast. It's all this stuff,
It's this.
Grant. It's like the this and the that, and where do I put it when I'm done, and who's going to edit it? And I have this voice that I'm stuck with, and I'm okay with it at this point. But
This is fun. I hated my voice.
yeah, but I have a weird voice. Like I'm okay with it now. I actually had a voice coach reach out to me, and I'm like, it is who I am at this point. I'm stuck with it. I went to the doctor. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't smoke. It sounds like it. But it is who I am. So like, I didn't want to put myself out there, and then who's going to want to sit with me and talk? Cause I would do this. I wouldn't have a camera in front of my face.
Yeah. Well, that's what's so cool is like, if you've probably heard me say this on the shows, is like it's the value of being able to help people create that content. Like Corey, there's I think our episode was over an hour, and there's like so many clips in there that are just
gold
clips that she can like cut and just put out there and draw more people into her.
Right.
Because the stories are the data of a soul, and how do you draw your people in, like, just like you're doing it and Corey's doing it by putting yourself out there. And yeah, everybody can get in front of the camera and just talk, but it's a different credibility when you're in the studio.
Yeah.
And this rolls out, and I've had so many guests like reach out and be like, oh my God, people are blowing me up wondering how I got on this show. And like, like it's a big deal. And I don't look at it like it's a big deal. I started it on a kitchen table in a collaborative workspace with a GoPro.
Right. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you didn't think it was a big deal, but to somebody like me, this is super impressive.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have the studio and these people and you're getting people every week and having these conversations every week, and they're worth listening to. That's, I think, the important part, right? Like people get something out of it.
Yeah.
So
that is the important part.
Yeah. And you're finding the right people to do it with.
Thanks.
Like you're doing a good job, I think.
It's when you tap into, I didn't plan for this, and it just kind of happened. Right. And then there was a point, because I was doing it by myself, that I was like, I've got to shut this down. Like I've got 9 episodes that I've got to edit by myself, being the solopreneur thing. I'm editing all this stuff. And I started off like, I found a great hobby. I love expressing my creative side and editing video. Now, like if you set me in front of editing a video, I'm like, this is painful. Like, because I did it so much. It's a lot of work. And so I was like, I got to cut people off, but like people just keep reaching out to me, like I can't.
So you don't even have to try anymore.
Not really.
I'm not saying you're not putting effort in.
Yeah.
But like people find you.
Yeah. There's every once in a while, because people find me, I get lazy and I won't book a date. And so I'll I'll be like, oh my God, I've got 3 days. And I just realized I don't have somebody on Monday, and I'll scramble around, and then I have to try.
So what do you do when you're scrambling? How do you find them?
I just think of who have I not talked to yet that's in my orbit, in my world. Cause I meet a lot of cool people.
Okay.
And that's the cool thing, is everybody has a story.
Right. Yeah.
Some people I didn't know Corey's story. I was like, I said sure because she asked, and that's one of my things is like, when people have balls enough to like say, can I do it? Like, it's going to be a cool story,
Yeah.
Like,
I probably don't know her whole story. I definitely have to listen to that podcast, because we do these events, and I always laugh when the 5 of us or 6 of us go into these events, we look like a tornado, and then they turn out okay. No, don't tell anybody that it looks like a disaster when we get there. But it works out and nobody else sees it, all the craziness. But like, she's one of our like hosts, like she does the event for us.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're like a wrecking ball, putting it all together, and then we're cleaning up and going home. So we don't really get to connect on the story part. She just has a cool product that a lot of my ideal client wants. So that's why her and I have worked together. So I'll have to listen to her story. And I think you're right. Like, and people are scared to tell their story. Like when you said to me, like, are you okay talking about that? Like, I got here because of a divorce.
Yeah.
I got here because my kids were old enough. They think they don't need me all the time. Now that I'm not there, they want me back. They're like, where have you been? Well, now I'm building a fun thing.
Yeah.
I don't even like to say a career, because it's fun. Doing the collaboration, like networking group, doing my social oak groups, like, and then being a chiropractor, but it's fun. And I didn't get here on purpose. The first time I was asked to speak in front of 300 women, I was like, I swear. A lot, like I wasn't afraid to talk in front of them.
Yeah.
I was afraid of what could come out of my mouth.
Come out.
I reeled it in. But
then that is the other thing too, that like you can reel it in, but you also have to be yourself.
Oh, I may have dropped one bad word because somebody else did first.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, we can say that?
We can do that.
I'm in. And I love her now. We are friends. I was like, we need to hang out.
It's so awesome.
And she's a young mom. So it's fun to see, like, helping young moms for me too is kind of a fun thing. Like, I remember, like, when you're a mom and doing it all and trying to be a business person, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, like all these younger business owners are coming to me like, how can I do this? I'm like, it's hard. You know, it's not easy, but you have a son, it's not easy.
Yeah.
You have a family that you have to take care of and still do your thing and be you.
Yep. And life happens and
yeah. Senior pictures, wardrobe malfunctions. I don't know if it's a malfunction, more of a fight.
Purposeful, intentional malfunction.
There's a lot coming today for me. I'm definitely going to just have to breathe through the day.
So at least we got to kick off your morning like this.
This is a way better way to kick off my morning. Like I said, so coming here, it was cool. I got to meet a girlfriend that lived in my community and moved out here. And she contacted me. She's like, I see everything you're doing. I want to do it. She's like, where do I start? I go, I do all the things. Like it's tattooed on my arm. Do all the things in Latin. And so I'm talking to her and she goes, it's a lot. I was like, yeah, figure out where you want to start. We'll go there.
You're not going to build the whole thing at once.
Well, in my C3 group, I always ask them what they want me. So the collaboration group that I have, it's kind of cool because the first part of it is me kind of going over these concepts that are new to people.
Yeah.
Right. On how to collaborate. And it's not always about direct referrals. It's about like who I can introduce you to and who's in my network that you might need to know and don't even know. And so last time I said, okay, what do you guys want me to talk about? Well, how'd you do this? How'd you do what? How'd you build Social Oak? So you want me to tell you in 20 minutes it took me a year? I got it. That'll happen next week. So I have a 20-minute of this is what I did in a year. And that's what kind of the conversation was this morning with Kim. And I said, you just need to come to C3 because literally I'm going to tell you in 20 minutes, like what you did from your kitchen table to getting here.
Yeah.
Like, can you explain that to people in 20 minutes?
In 20 minutes, no.
All the things that got you here.
I mean, it's like real quick overviews, right?
Yeah. And they're never going to get it from that.
Yeah.
You know, you can't duplicate that from a 20-minute, this is how I did it.
Yeah.
You know, and I was laughing too. I listened to one of your podcasts on the way here and I really liked the lady, like the learning and the failures. I'm like, I laugh. I'm like, I don't think I failed because I just changed it.
Yes.
Like the learning, like,
yeah.
I don't know if you know what episode I'm talking about. She was, I can't think of her name. Natalie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never looked at it as failing and falling on my face.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it was to anybody from the outside, you know, but, you know, and I going through a divorce, I think to me it's nothing you ever plan.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything, like, I hate to say it, but it's a failure. And to me after that, like, I don't think there can be anything as bad as that. So now I'm not afraid to do what I need to do and make the mistakes I need to make.
Because at the end of the day, the failure is what you needed.
Right. To get me where I am. Yeah. Like you said, like the learning, but I don't look at them as failures. Right.
And I say it in quotations because we label it as failures. It's just an event that happened in often the biggest learning lessons, the biggest spurs of, you know, you said this has happened because of this. Yeah. So you just get up and keep going, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot, I think. And people are afraid to fail. So one of the things one of my coaches said to me is, it's not always that you're afraid to fail. It's what you're going to do after you fail. Mm. That's what people are afraid of. Like they're going to give up? Yeah. Like, like what do they always say? Like it's worse to stop short than to find out what keeps happening. Yep. You know, like I think I don't want to ever stop short. I think that's the biggest thing. That's my biggest learning lesson out of all this. I don't ever want to stop just before I get there. And then once you're there, there's something else you want. What do you think that is in you?
What do you mean? Like what I want?
As far as like not stopping short, like that kind of natural driver, what do you think that spurs from?
I just think that's kind of who I am, and watching my family and my parents. Like my dad's an entrepreneur, my mom's a chiropractor and a business owner. And my dad is, he's almost 70 years old, and he's like, I'm still learning and I'm still doing. I think my parents instilled that in me. I think that they never told me that I could fail.
That's awesome.
Right. And that's a hard lesson, I think, for us to teach our kids. I think, have you read the Dan Sullivan book, The Gap and the Gain?
No. Got
Gap and the Gain.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of his. Like Who Not How is one of my favorites that he wrote.
Okay.
And then Gap and the Gain is a new one. I think it was Corey who told Lisa. Lisa was at the event too.
Yeah. Yep.
Corey told Lisa to read it. Lisa told me to read it. And it was one of the biggest, a big lesson, I think. So my son, his soccer team, they won the state cup. So for their age, they were the best in their age. And they hadn't lost a game. They hadn't been scored on. And they were just killing it. And he's 13. And so we go to regionals in Cincinnati. And they got crushed. They didn't get crushed. They did okay.
Yeah.
But
to them, they got crushed.
Yeah, they lost every game. They lost to Iowa, they lost to Missouri, they lost to South Dakota because they're playing the best from each state in our region. And I looked at my son, I said, do you know, and I didn't realize this, he had told me in passing, I said, do you know last year you guys lost every state cup game? Like you guys were terrible last year. Like you weren't good. And you came back this year, same team, and crushed it. So like you didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's
gained.
How you gained.
Majorly.
You may have lost here because you had to eventually lose or win it all, I guess. But somebody had to lose. So the teams that we were playing, they crushed it in their states. So you're playing the best teams out there. You're not playing the same kids anymore. But I think that if you look at the gains and look at the growth, even though you might not be where you want to end, there's still something to be said about what you got out of it.
Yes.
Or where you've gone to.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that's looking at clients and being able to show them like, look
progress.
At this. Like, look at, like, you thought this was impossible. Like, what's that difference?
Well, I think too, we get so like you have this end goal and this, like, I want to be here, and you get here, but you started here and you forget this. Yeah. Right. Like you wanted that and you're like, I didn't make it. And then they stop. Yeah. No, you can keep going. You don't have to put a timeline on it. And maybe you shift and have to go this way. So I think that's how I was raised. So when I guess reading that book, it just resonated with me because I think that's my drive. Like I don't ever look at it as a failure. It's just shift, pivot, move, change, and keep going. Because what am I going to do? Lay down and be done?
And what does that do? And a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Or, I love how you said that as far as people are more afraid of what they'll do next. Because
what they're going to do.
If you lie down, you create a habit of doing that. You create a habit of quitting and turning around when it gets too hard. And then you get to a point in life where you feel like you're too old or too slow or too sick to do whatever it was that you wanted to do. And now you're just sitting there resentful over everything.
Yeah. And never making any progress. And I think you look at all the loss.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think that read the book. It's a great book.
You're failing if you're not going and doing the things, if you're not living life, if you're letting fear tell you that I'm going to lose something by not doing. The biggest thing with clients is like, or people is just doing action. Salespeople, right? Like, oh, what happens if this happens? I don't know. Call them. Like,
right.
What
do you have to lose if you don't? I mean, if you don't call them, you lose a lot.
Yeah. I had this sales guy that was on my team a long time ago, and I had a guy I played basketball with that reached out to me. He had his son-in-law was in town, and he needed a new phone, and so I knew this guy needed to hit a goal, and so he's one of my managers, and I called him up and was like, hey, this guy, call him. He starts asking me all these questions. Like, I don't know. This is what I know. So he asked me another question. Like, I don't know. So he looks him up on Facebook and starts like, dude, you know who does know all those questions? Him. Just call him. Just ask them,
Yeah.
But we make it so hard. And like you said, people want to build community. People want people want somebody to listen to them.
Or be invited, and just be invited.
Yeah.
Just be invited, right? Like they just want you to ask, like, and they may say no 10 times, but they still want you to invite them.
Yep.
So yeah, just pick up the phone, make the call. And it's scary. I mean, I'm still scared doing it. I told you those $100 tabs, the very first video I did.
Yeah.
I was sweating. I was nervous. And I remember Megan looking at me. She goes, should we watch the video? I go, oh no. You just have to post it.
Just post it. No watching.
If we watch it, we're going to be like, but my hair was off here and this was there. And people don't care about that.
Nope.
Right?
Yep.
Like, so I'm like, no. We're just going to post it. And anytime it comes up on my feed, because of the algorithm, we have to let it play. But I am going to put my phone down and put it on mute and not hear my voice. And then as I watched my videos, I posted like my very first one. And then I did it for 2 years, those tabs. For every Friday, I gave $100 to a local business owner for 2 years. And I quit doing it because people started telling me no. Isn't that weird?
It's weird.
It was hard to give people money.
Wow.
And promote them.
Wow.
But you know what I learned in that, I think? There are people with a smaller mindset that think there's a catch.
Yep. They're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Like they looked at me like I was nuts. And I am. But they thought there was a catch. But watching my videos and the progress, like you said, from your kitchen counter to all of this.
Yeah.
Like go look at your first podcast. Was it great?
No.
Right? So people just have to start.
Yep.
And don't watch that one again.
Yeah. Or do and laugh about it. And like, I love going back and looking at the other ones. Not that they were horrible, like, but there's a lot of learning lessons. There's times where my camera stopped working, in between it. There was one whole episode where the video froze. So I had all the audio, but there was just one still picture.
Perfect.
It was like, just perfect. You look at that stuff. It was all like, just learning from it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Okay. So let me ask you this. So when I wanted to start my podcast and I keep thinking about, I want to have you on it. I want to do this. I want to have this person on it. But I'm like, okay, but who can I start with and screw up? Did you do that? Like, I'm like, I don't want, and I have so many good friends and business owners and people that I could invite and I think would do it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to waste the good ones. I want to learn what I'm doing.
So I've had guests on a couple times. I've had guests come on multiple times, especially now. I think the big thing is like, I've had really good guests on when I was like at my kitchen table with the GoPro. And now I want to bring people into the studio because it's just a different
vibe.
It's so different.
Okay. Yeah. That's my other fear is one, the technology, and two, like, I don't want to waste the good people.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. You're all good people.
You're all good people.
Just so you know, if you're one of my first people, you're awesome.
I was going to say, you're the first in, but I thought of you first. Oh, no.
I don't mean it like that.
No. I don't know. So, no, I just had really good guests, like out of the gate. Just because there were the people I was connecting with, and how it all really happened is when I started my business, I just wanted to go meet other entrepreneurs, other coaches and consultants that were in my space, other people that I saw in the community that were building great businesses. And I wanted to pick their brain. I wanted to know their journey. I wanted to learn from them. Okay. And so as I was doing that, I'm like, I'm learning and growing so much from these people. I'm becoming a better person. I was watching it happen. It also like, it was, like as I'm building and trying to figure out this thing, I'm like, I'm not alone in this. There's a lot of the same struggles that I'm going through. They were just telling me they went through, and then it was like, I do this. Like, I'm the person that's going to go out and have these conversations. I'm going to call up. I'm going to call you up and say, hey, you want to have a conversation?
You're not afraid.
Like, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable and ask the questions. There are so many people that think about starting a business or that are there in their business, in the struggles, and they're vulnerable. They've done it by themselves and they don't realize that other people are out there going through the same things. And
Isn't it sad for them to be alone and do it all alone?
So sad because you don't need to be. My favorite part about being a business owner is doing this stuff,
right.
Like building the community, meeting the people, the relationships and the collaborations that I've built over this has been just so rewarding. It's
right.
It's been everything.
You get a lot out of it, but you're putting a lot into it.
Yes. But it doesn't feel that way.
Because it's fun.
Because it's fun.
Yeah. Like when I host an event with 150 women, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
But it's work.
But it's work.
Is it?
I had this challenge, and it all started at a coffee shop. This was like maybe 10 years ago now. And I went to Panera Bread one morning on my way to work, and there was this guy that was working there that was just having a horrible day. Like you could just tell he was in a bad mood, and he was being like short and rude to everybody. And I'm like, I'm going to make this guy's day a good day, right? I'm like, I was bound and determined I'm going to make that guy's day good. And so I get up there and I ask him how his day is going. I'm just my energy and stuff like that. I'm trying, and he yawned, and I was like, oh man, yawning in a coffee shop. And I was like, don't they give you enough caffeine? Like everybody else around me laughed. He was like, huh. like, oh man. So I order my coffee. He comes back and I have a sample size coffee cup. Like I need a large coffee this morning. Like, right. He gives me this small coffee and I'm like, I am not going to win this guy. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I must have made a mistake and said small. I'm like, I definitely need a large. Can we exchange this? And he's like, so he's like starts poking the buttons and everything. Long story short, he can't figure out how to refund it. So he goes back to the manager and he comes back and he was like, here's, just here, take the cup. It's not a big deal. Just, here's your free coffee, or here's the extra coffee or the coffee. And I was like, thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing that. And he was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I saw how you went to bat for me with your manager and just, said, saw the mistake that we made and got me that large coffee without me having to pay for it. And I really appreciate it. And I gave him a $5 tip. And he was like, wow, thank you so much. And like his day, like he was like, and every time I saw that guy afterwards, like he was always happy in a good mood. I don't think that I changed his life, but like it was just one of those things.
Impact.
It's making an impact.
Little things make an impact.
And so I posted this thing on Facebook right afterwards. I left there and I because just seeing that impact, and I threw this challenge out to people. It was like, we have the ability to change somebody's day. You see somebody that's in a bad mood, like smile at them, like just acknowledge them. So many times we walk around with our blinders, or we're looking at our phone, we're just living life, and then somebody upsets you at the coffee shop and then you go off on them, right? And like I had a chance to, there's a couple things that could have happened there, like that guy's day could have got way worse, and my day could have got bad too.
Yeah, you didn't let it change.
I could have let him impact me.
Yeah.
Instead I was like, I'm going to impact him and help make his day good. And it might not have worked, but so I threw this challenge out. And I was like, let me know how, go and just smile at people, impact their day. Let me know how it works. And I had all these people all day long just reporting to me. What was really cool is my mom was like, I was at the farmer's market today, and I just, walked up to this person, and she looked like she was in a bad day. So I asked her how she was doing. We had a really great conversation. I made a friend. So it's like really cool seeing that happen. And I was doing it all day long. And at the end of it, I was like, this is not hard.
Right.
This is not only not hard.
But that's what I like about you. But you put it out there and you made an impact on a lot of people without even knowing it.
Without even knowing it.
Because you had other people doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
And it's just a little thing, a smile.
Just the little things.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost us anything even. I gave the guy a $5 tip because I couldn't figure out any other way to make him happy.
But it worked for him.
But it worked for him. Most of the time, it's just smiling at somebody and saying hi to them, acknowledging them, asking them how their day is going.
People need people.
People need people. How many times are you walking through life and people ask how you're doing and you're like, not too bad.
Right.
Just responding and going with life as opposed to, man, I'm great. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. I think that we need to people need to do that more often.
Yeah.
I was getting a pedicure. I had a funeral and I was really quick running in to get my toenails changed. This is a weird story. I hadn't done a benevolence. I have not done one of those tabs in a long time because people didn't want my money. Yeah. Super annoying. But I was getting a pedicure and I walked in and the lady, they were mean. They were so mean. And I was like, I just need a polish change. How long is it going to take? I was on my way to a funeral. I was not in a good mood. Yeah. I was on my way to a funeral. And the lady, I don't know who she is, where she is, but there was a lady across from me. And I'd said something and she giggled at it. And I was in a sour mood, I'm not going to lie. And she giggled at it. And then they went to start her pedicure and she goes, she's really in a hurry. Can you start hers? And she changed my whole mood. Wow. And when I went to leave, this is the one time I was happy they didn't speak English at the pedicure place, because I looked at the lady and I said, I went to check out and I said, I want to pay for her pedicure. And the lady looked at me and I said, she's the only one who's been nice to me the whole time I've been here. And I paid, she has no idea I did it or who I am. And I walked out and I think it changed the nail lady's mood.
Yeah.
Because I was like, she was so kind. Like,
Yeah.
I can just go and she doesn't need to know who I am. And I walked out the door. I go, please don't tell her until after. And, you know, they're talking in their language. And I was like, this is the first time that's worked out.
That's worked out.
They've talked crap about me before.
Now they're like, she's actually nice.
Yeah, I am actually nice. I was just in a bad mood that day.
That's so cool how that person helped change around your
mood. I mean, I was on my way to a funeral.
Yeah.
And she has no idea how she made me feel, like, just by smiling and being kind.
Yep.
Like, I think that's a huge impact. And that's, I guess, you know, like you asked, like, how did I learn all that? I think my parents, and I'm hoping that's the one thing I hope I give that to my kids. Right?
Yep.
Like, I hope my kids see, like, all the little things that you don't even know, the smiles and the compliments that you give to strangers.
They see it.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, so far, I think they're pretty good humans.
Yeah. That's why. So it's like one of those things, like I question, does my son see it? You know? But then
so you just told me, but you're questioning it.
Yeah. Well, no, and I always question it. But then when you see the things that he does, it was a couple of years ago, we were at the fair and he was sitting there watching him and he's talking to the carny and he's with his buddies and his buddies are just kind of giggling and Jackson's just having this conversation and he's asking about his life and this guy's telling him these stories and Jackson's like it wasn't making fun of him, wasn't anything, just having a conversation. And then he got back, he's like, man, that guy had a crazy life. He was just telling me about how, like, you know, people would like throw bottles at him and like, you know, call him names and make fun of him and stuff. And he was like, I felt, you know, like, and then he was like telling me these interesting things that he does. And it's like, that's so cool how he saw that guy as a human.
Yeah, but you like to connect with people and he sees that. So he asks questions because he sees dad doing that.
But to like, and that's cool. But it's not just to just anybody, right? Like he know, not saying me, but like he uses that, he sees that, but it was like it was to just another person.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like somebody of prestige or.
But that's something you would do.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. Like,
and that's what I mean.
Yeah, I love that.
Is
like,
because like
watching.
you don't know. I don't do this like and then go back and teach them because how do you do that? But they're watching it.
You're modeling it.
Yeah.
You're living it.
Yes.
So of course he's going to see it. That's awesome. You're living it.
Yep.
And so he's going to do it.
And that's the same thing I was saying for you is they're watching it because you're living it. You're doing it.
We'll see. Fingers crossed.
They may not value it right now.
No,
but one day they're going to be like, wow, mom.
Yeah. They see all the fun things that I do, but they don't get it. Right.
Yeah.
And they, like I said, they see me gone a lot right now. Cause I was a mom. Back to the divorce part is I was, you know, raising my babies. I didn't miss a field trip. I didn't miss a school party. I didn't do any of that. And I'm super grateful for all of that. But they see me working a lot now. But they don't remember that their dad was gone for all of that stuff. Like he was building his business and his career. And they don't remember that he'd work all the time and not go up to the cottage with us. And it would just be the three of us. And now, and it stinks because for me as a mom, that's probably the hardest thing because they are going to remember me being gone. They don't remember him putting in all the hours. And I'm not bitter. He afforded me being a mom. Yeah. And being there. Yeah. So I don't want to sound ungrateful or bitter or mad, but they are going to remember me working a lot. Yeah. So, and hopefully they'll do, like, I want them to be a part of things with me. And right now I'm not cool enough to be with, but one day they'll come back. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny how circle of life. And right. I mean, I work with my mom. Yeah, exactly. If you told 17-year-old me that I was going to come back and work with my mom, no way. And it's amazing. I keep telling her, I said, Mom, you have to go away sometimes. Like, cause I mean, she's getting older and one day I'm going to lose her. And that's a fear. Like, we're together every day. Yeah. I don't think many people get that in life. So I'm fortunate to have it, but I'm like, you got to go away a little bit. So you could appreciate her. Well, not just that. Like, yeah, I'm scared when she's gone. Like if you're with somebody every day and then they're gone. Oh, yeah. That's my fear. Ooh. Like, I mean, it sounds weird, but most people aren't with their mom
every
at
single
43 years
day.
old every single day. And we still have family dinners on Sunday, and I cook on Tuesdays and my sister cooks on Fridays.
That's awesome.
Like we're a weird family, but I love it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. So good times. And maybe that's why I like community. Big kitchen table.
That makes a lot of sense. Have you put that together before?
No, that was a light bulb moment for me.
I love that.
Yeah. Maybe, I mean, that probably is, because even on 4th of July, my aunts, my cousins, all their kids, still and Sundays in the summertime, it's all my cousins, it's all my aunts and uncles. Like we have a big kitchen table and everybody's welcome. You know, we always laugh at Christmas. We're like the adopted house. Like if you need a place to go, we're your place.
Your community feels like home.
Yeah. So I guess it is my mom and my family.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
Just like for me, like my curiosity with people like comes from my mom. You know, like she was that same.
You said that story, I think.
Oh yeah, no, and that's so true. My mom was she's very curious about people. She wants to know what's going on. She likes to talk about what's going on, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you said that at the Unplugged retreat.
Yeah.
Did you tell that story?
Yeah, I told that story. Yeah, it's like one of those things. It didn't dawn on me until it was back in January. I was on the way back from a business trip, and I was talking to my mom on the phone, and I was telling her something, and she was like, yeah, remember when you were a kid and you'd come home and tell me these stories, and I'd be like, you know, like you're not nosy enough. I'm like, oh my God. Like I've always wondered how like my brother, my sister, and I have just like, we're all community nosy, but like care about people, have a curiosity for people, like good at building relationships and community.
Okay.
In what we do. So I wonder how did that happen? You know, how does that happen with single mom? Like there's got to be something there, and that just makes sense.
Yeah, that she taught all three of you to be that person.
Yep.
Ask questions, care about people more.
In community, we always had family around and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a good way to grow up.
It is.
Yeah, and I hope that my kids see that too and appreciate it. And maybe one day do the same kind of thing. We'll see.
Something we haven't talked about much is from your coaching standpoint, who do you work with from coaching?
So I like to work with people who, I think my favorite person is that like my age. Like, okay, I've had this career, I've been doing it, but like I either want to be done or do more.
Yep.
Right? Like I had a really good practice and didn't know it because I wanted more out of it. I knew I was going to do more with it. And so I got to this point like, okay, I need to make a big change. So I either can stay here and it's okay, or I can do something more. So, and I have more time because my kids are a little bit older. So I think it's that person who's like done okay and has a career, but they're ready to do more. Mm-hmm. And they have to be an executor. I can't work with, I think I would have a really hard time with somebody who doesn't want to, and you don't have to do it my way.
Yeah.
But
you have to have the motivation.
The motivation.
Yep.
Yeah. And the excitement and you have to be a people person, right? Because I think my big way of coaching is building that community and building your network and sharing what you know with others.
It comes down to being a we person versus me person.
Yeah.
And it's not even it's not that the me person is bad.
Yeah. I have to keep,
right?
I have to keep saying that.
It's just, if you're about me, you're not going to go out and build the community. There's no value in doing that.
Yes. That me person is going to be invited to that community to speak.
Yes.
They can be a part of it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think there's a place for everybody, but I think I'm a we person coach. Like if you like being around people and you like building community and networking and giving back.
Yeah.
Right? I think that there's, you have to be able to reciprocate. You know, like I think at most of my conversations is like, okay, what can I do for you? Like, how can I help you? Well, who do I know that you need to know?
Yeah.
Right. And I think you're like that too.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think you need to know, like, I want to give as much as I get always. So I think my coaching clients are like that. And I think, like you said, I'm putting myself out there and they're seeing what I'm doing. So they're coming to me.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Because that's the thing is, you know, we talked about, you mentioned at the beginning, when you're new, you've kind of got to take whatever. In to a point, because I think you can define what you want out of the gates, and you can start working on building this out of the gates, and and find your people and start attracting your people. Because once you start communicating it, once you start telling the stories, you just told the story that summed it up really well who your person is.
Right. Well, I'm pretty good at knowing who I want. Like, I think that came from my practice and,
Yes.
and learning. I know who I want to work with. But yeah, I think that you're putting out the content that is resonating with those people. If you put it out, because I'll still get nervous. I'm human.
Yeah. I when I started, I did not think that I would have any kind of nerves doing a stupid video, like doing a video, because I would stand up and speak in front of crowds and all that kind of stuff, and not really have like a lot of anxiety around that. So I thought, putting in front of the camera and filming content, not a problem. And it was like.
And then you press play.
I press record and just sit there and stare at the camera.
And you have so many good things you could say.
So many good things.
And then the words aren't there.
And you start tripping over yourself. It's crazy.
And then you watch it and you're like, wait, I forgot like the best part. That's the worst part. Like, you're like, but I should have said this.
And the thing is the people don't know.
No.
Like, it's good content, but you know what you left out.
Yeah. But then do you do another video? Like, then you start, the content it's hard. That's what I keep saying. Like, what do people want to hear? You know, like, and then you just throw spaghetti at the wall and hope somebody watches it before it falls. Right.
That's the kind of spaghetti I like.
Well, yeah. And that's like, I'm really bad at analytics. Like, I'm bad. The numbers aren't my thing.
Okay.
So like, do you rewatch your stuff and see like what people wanted to see? And like,
to the most part, I know like the type of stories and stuff out there that people like. Usually when I'm putting the clips and everything out there, I'm pretty obsessive with numbers. So see,
I need that brain. That's like where I'm not.
It's a gift and a curse. My wife's like, stop looking at those analytics. It didn't change. Stop pressing the refresh.
No, that's awesome.
There was a point in time where our platform they were switching the platform, and I was messaging Grant all the time, like, hey, where are my numbers at? What are we?
But that's amazing. So to me, that's something I lack and I like admire in somebody else.
Yeah.
Because that's really hard for me to look at. I don't even know that I look as often anymore. I'll see what gets more views.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily, and I'm all still new at this. Like the coaching thing, that was on accident too. I didn't mean to. The networking group started, and then in the networking group, people were like calling me their coach, and I was like, I'm your coach? Okay, let's do this.
Wait a minute, I'm your coach?
Yeah, I was like, okay. And I think it organically happened. Like, how did you get into coaching? You were in sales, and you were good at it, and then you probably started helping people.
Yeah.
Right? And then more people were like, can I take you to lunch?
Yeah.
Can I pick your brain?
Yep.
Is that how it happened?
It's kind of. I got promoted to leadership, and I had to learn how to teach people. Then as soon as I did that, then we started having success, and then people were like, "Hey, can I take you to lunch and pick your brain?" So kind of that's how I ended here.
You ran out of lunches.
I ran out of lunches.
And you ran out of coffee dates.
I was like, I'm tired of doing what I'm doing. Like, I was a director of sales for a company that was an agent of Verizon. And I was just like, I'm tired of this industry. In the meantime, there's all these businesses that are struggling with sales and leadership. The reason why they're closing is because, and they're coming to me and asking me, like, there's a gap here, and this is where I'm like, it just drew me.
It just organically happened. Like, did you know you were going to be? Nobody grows up and they're like, I'm going to be a coach.
I'm going to be a coach. Yeah.
Right.
No, I wanted to be an athletic coach for the longest time.
So you did want to be a coach.
I never thought about business coaching at all. No.
But you wanted to be a coach.
Yeah,
okay.
Kinda. Yeah.
So yeah, I never would have said that. I mean, I'm a chiropractor. I'm a doctor. Like, I went to college for 8 years. I would have never said, I can help you grow your business.
Yeah.
And have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think I could say that. I was trying to do my own thing. And in doing it, like you said, people are like, can I take you to lunch? I don't have any more lunches available. You can come to my C3 meeting on Tuesday at 8:00 and I can tell you all of this stuff. And if you want more, we can talk more.
Yeah.
I ran out of the time and I love doing it.
Yep.
So yeah, I think coaching just happens to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, and at some point, is it funner than doing what you're doing?
Oh, that's such a question for me right now. Because I love innately, I love chiropractic and I love like natural health and I love being different.
Yeah.
But I also love freedom and flexibility.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah.
Because right now my hands are my money
Yep.
in that job.
Yep. And if you're not there doing it, you're not making money.
Right. So the freedom and flexibility, now I can hire associates. And I actually, that's my next step in my practice is hiring associates and teaching them to do it. Like teaching, because nobody teaches you that.
Yeah.
How to be a business owner.
Nope.
Right? You go to be a doctor and nobody tells you how to run a practice or that you have to have QuickBooks and an accountant and, and you don't have the money in the beginning to do that because you have loans and you're still seeing patients and it's scary. So yeah, I think that's who I want to help coach, like new doctors in my practice. Not that as my coaching clients, but I do want to help make a difference.
Yep. That's so cool. 'Cause you're so right. Like you learn so much to be a doctor and so much of it is not on how to run that business.
None of it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any business class. Not one. And you get into like the insurance and all this. And I'm lucky I had my mom and I had I had a mentor.
Yeah.
But I'm doing things differently. Her ideal patient isn't my ideal patient. And that's why I got into this. And that's why I started coaching with somebody else to teach me, like, how do I do it different? And there's a different business mindset. It goes back to, my dad's B&Is and networking. Like how my mom does business is different than how I do business.
Yep.
So what if my daughter
your dad was building that community, doing the networking back in the day.
But was it community? Like when you're doing like the B&Is, to me, it's homework and guilt.
Yeah.
If I didn't have 3 referrals.
Yeah.
So what if I don't have 3 referrals to you, but I have 3, like I have a person that you can meet and it's not going to be your client, but they're going to change your business and your life.
And see, those are the type of people I usually connect people with versus like, here's your client.
That's what I'm saying. But at networking events, at those at the old networking groups, to me, they want to direct clients.
Yep.
They forget about relationship capital.
Yeah. Relationship capital. And that's so important. It's so important. And people are glossed over. They don't even see that.
Right.
They don't even see that opportunity because is it dollars now? Nope. Okay.
It's the old school way of thinking. And I think that like our age and now the younger, they're seeing the importance of relationships and building those and authentic. Like if I come in here like not authentic in who I am, this is going to be a terrible conversation.
Terrible. Yeah.
I've held back on the swear words, but I'm totally being me.
And that's totally good too. We've had some record setters on here.
Right now I've set a record and not.
But you're right. But the people that are going to survive and thrive in business moving forward are the people that learn to do it like we're doing it. And that's why I love
people want to do business with people.
People want to do, and it's like I said, as soon as I met you, I'm like, I gotta have you on.
That's how I felt about you, and it's weird that we feel this. Like when you said that, I'm like, gosh, how do I get in his bubble? Like, and like all the words, like I said, that I'm like, you're speaking my love language of words. Like every podcast or every person you've had has said the community, collaboration, like very rarely networking, but it's been like relationship.
Yeah. I love it. Again, we talked about the beginning, the redundant message, right?
Yeah.
The redundant message of hearing the same thing over and over again from different people and different words and different stories.
Yeah. You got to let me know how I can connect you with my people and you're with my, like, cause
absolutely.
And like, I would love to meet more people in your bubble.
Let's do it. You're officially in my bubble.
Perfect. Right. I don't leave my bubble very often in Clarkston. So
yeah. And I want to go more into the Clarkston bubble. So
yeah, well, you'll come I'll bring you to lunch in Clarkston.
Awesome.
Our roads are good. You can come whenever you want. Your roads
once these are good, they're going to be great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The water, like it is a beautiful community.
It's so nice.
You guys can do so many fun, like it just looks like a cool place to be.
Yeah. Lots of events like festivals and stuff, usually in the summer.
Oh, they all can't. Yeah,
we have like 1 or 2 things that are going to be at the ski hill, but it's not the same.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys have a ski hill too.
Yeah.
See, we have a lot of alike.
Yeah. No, Clarkston is a good community. I like the Clarkston community a lot.
Yeah, we got to figure out how we can merge our communities and do some fun things.
Yes. Well, you're in my bubble, and so let's do it. Ron, thank you so much for
having me.
Absolutely.